Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids, and in today's video, we've got a couple of spicy things to talk about. This new Adventure Deck of Fate has gone live, and this Adventure Deck of Fate drops a lot of pinpoint gear. Well, how good is it? That's the question. I think it's kind of mixed. I'm going to be breaking it down. I think there are some good things about this, also some bad things. It's a little complicated. I will be explaining it all, though. The chests in this one are actually quite strong, though you're very much dependent on luck to get them. And this is how you get points. So let's look at this and how much, first question, how much will this Deck of Fate actually cost? So, and by the way, I will also talk about the summoning events for this weekend after we talk about the deck. Well, interestingly enough, I jumped over. I was away for the Freya Deck of Fate, but Saf had the video up on, I just pulled stuff for it. I don't think I paid too much attention. But you could see for the Freya Deck of Fate, which was about 30,000 energy, this was this. For example, if we look at rank 6, it was 5 coins for level upgrade, 200 for a rank upgrade. This has improved a decent chunk, actually. So the rank upgrade for level 6 is back up to 300. The level upgrade is up to 8, and so on. So you can see, like, rank 4, 3, and 50. In the Freya Deck of Fate, that was 2 and 35. So there's quite a big change here. Honestly, it's a lot better, which is good because the Freya Deck of Fate was way too hard. Now, what is also interesting, that's it. So we're getting approximately 50% more points. So instead of 30,000 energy, it's probably more like 20,000. But then for the Freya Deck of Fate, it was actually also soul stones as well. This one, it's dungeon divers, getting artifacts and accessories. Now, the thing is, if you're leveling up champs in campaign, you're going to get some of these anyway. And if you do any dungeons, you get some of these anyway. So this will also give you some points. Not a lot, but some. So I've worked out some rough maths to see. And Saf is actually working out the proper maths. So stay tuned to HH Gaming. He will work out the exact stuff. But my rough stuff, I wanted to compare it to, okay, if these are how many things we're getting, how does that compare roughly to Stage 30 of the Odin event dungeon? There are 6-star legendary, 6-star mythical, and 6-star epic pieces of pinpoint up for grabs. These were the drop chances for those on Stage 30 of the Odin event dungeon. Now, the thing is, for the Odin event dungeon, I'd say the 5-star epics are not great, but could still help you fill in a set. Like a 5-star epic ring is probably fine. I would say that the Mythics and Legos could be quite good. Like if they rolled a lot of speed, it could actually still be really good. So you're not getting those, whereas you would have got them from the event dungeon and they would have been useful. Like I said, the Freya deck was right about 30,000 energy. I think this one is roughly 15,000. Now that is a rough figure, but it should be a bit, it might be a little bit higher than that. I'd say with energy alone, it'd probably be about 18,000 with only champion training. I'm guessing you get about 3,000 off with the dungeon divers is likely it. So we'll see. Now here's what's interesting from this as well. 15,000 energy. If we put that into the Odin event dungeon, how does that compare? That would be 750 runs of the Odin event dungeon, 20 energy per. You get 12 pieces of mythical gear, 43 pieces of legendary gear, and 76 pieces of epic gear from that. Quick glance, you're not getting that much gear from this. Now that being said, in the, and sorry, this should be not 20. I initially worked it out at 20, and then I added in the dungeon diver stuff as well. There was on stage 30, this is also a bit technical, but on stage 30 of the Odin event dungeon, there was a 34% chance for an accessory, and those would always be pinpoint. There was the 65.5% chance for gear, but it wouldn't always be pinpoint gear. Wouldn't always be pinpoint. It could be other gear sets. So I said roughly, if you had a roughly 50% chance total to get pinpoint something from these drops, you'd be getting about 6 pieces of mythical pinpoint, 22 pieces of legendary pinpoint, and 38 pieces of epic pinpoint from an equivalent amount of energy farming stage 30 of the Odin event dungeon, compared to this deck where you're getting 6 mythical, 9 legendary, and 12 epic. So interestingly enough, in terms of mythical pinpoint, you're actually going to get a similar return on Mythical Pinpoint, I believe, from this deck as from farming the dungeon, but you're a big chunk behind on Legendary and a massive chunk behind on Epic, and of course that's not mentioning the 5-star stuff that you obviously don't get from this. So there you go. Basically, how much Pinpoint are you getting compared to the event dungeon? Definitely nowhere near as much, but it's, you're getting a decent amount of Mythical from this event. So yeah, this one is decent for those mythical pieces. Of course, you got to have those mythical pieces roll well. You're probably going to be looking for that mythical chaos ore to re-roll them if they don't roll well. And yeah, but there's definitely that randomness. There's also some other bits in here, a couple of bits of chaos ore and dust and glyphs. I think they're quite minor. I mean, a 6-star speed glyph is actually quite nice. This stuff is fine, but I don't think it's making a major difference. Now, the fate chests are very strong. So like if you get a sacred shard, or if you get 20 red essence, or an eternal soulstone, even a legendary book maybe, like this stuff is actually really strong, and this makes the event a lot better. I'd say even the blue chest is pretty good, like 20 silver essence is quite decent, a void shard is okay. You've got some alright stuff in there. I think the green chest is mostly worthless, to be honest. So the rewards in here are, I think they're okay. That's what it seems to me. I think they are okay. Now, here is the thing. Here is the thing. You don't have to max out the deck. You don't need to flip everything. You can flip just a few things. And that's where I think this event actually can be quite decent. Coming in, and basically what you do, like what I would do, let me actually do it right now for you. Pull a bunch of green shards, right? And what we're going to do is just build up food, low tier food for future champion training events. You can be super efficient with champion training. So we just pull a bunch of green shards. Then what I would like to do is come in, and I like to use the brews. So I'll flip this around, and I like to use the brews for just the 1-star guys. So we just like feed up. Okay, and we do a few of these. Probably a decent chunk. We'll do most of them. Then we're going to use the instant upgrade, the instant rank up, to just rank these guys up. So let me see. Let's do maybe 2 more. Here we go. I'd say this is going to be about right. We might be slightly off in terms of the 1-stars, and that's fine. I'm going to go into like instant rank up. And cool, great. We'll take 5 of those right up. Great, great. And then we could do the same thing with the 2-stars. I can instant rank up some 2-stars. Cool. And yeah, but basically I pull the green shards, turn the 1-stars into 2-stars, go into campaign. I will probably do it a nightmare. Level the 2-stars up to 20, instant rank up the level 20s, keep repeating that till they're all used up. Then what I'll do is I'll take the 3-stars and I will run like the 3-stars probably twice up to level 15 and sort of stop there. You can, if you want, then rank some of these 3-stars up to level 30. And if you want to, the further up you go, you're sort of taking away from future champion training. But the point of this is you're basically taking time and energy to build up like future champion training stuff. So I could walk away with a bunch of level 15 3-star chickens, basically. I've basically made 3-star chickens while getting a good chunk of fossils, which is nice. So that's something that I think that can be a very efficient way to do it. And, that can add up and get you a few flips in this event. And yeah, you can pretty efficiently get a few flips and actually be pretty well prepared for the next champion training, right? You could be going in with some 4-star level 1 champions, or some like level 30 champions with a bunch of level 15 3-stars ready to feed into them for more points in the future, and so on. So I would recommend doing that. If you are endgame, you can obviously go more hard if you want, and you can like actually level stuff up much higher and actually use up like your champion training resources. You can go harder. I think it's okay to do so. It's sort of the question of how good is the pinpoint stuff. Pinpoint, I think, is really strong, but there are also lots of really strong sets. So yeah, it sort of depends. I think it becomes very expensive. Like if you want to max this out, like I said, about 15,000 energy, and 15,000 energy, let's work out. So what, 15,000 energy divided by 130 is like 115 refills. We multiply that by what, 40 gems. Like you're looking at 4,500 gems. That's a huge amount of gems. Obviously, you're going to get your daily energy, And I do think it's actually, like I said, for most players, quite good to slap your daily energy into this event and try pick up a good couple of pieces of gear. Maybe you get that 6-star speed glyph. That's great. Maybe you get one of these chests. It actually is quite a decent way to spend your free energy at the moment. But would I go hard and spend all those gems going for this? Probably not, to be honest. I don't know. That's much more debatable. It really depends how rich and how far in the game you are, how rich in resources, how far in the game are you willing to spend money as well. It's quite a bit more questionable whether it's worth it or not. I'd say really definitely only end game. And bear in mind, we've got a new fusion will probably be coming up soon enough. Speaking of, I would also be expecting more events. After this Deck of Fate, I'd expect more stuff. We've got some teases. Now, interestingly enough, it seems like there is not going to be a guaranteed champ event at all for Hansel, or in other words, this one is. If you take first place in your tournament, you can win Hansel. I would say between this, first place to win Hansel, and they've got, there's the summon pool on right now, with the headline champion is Hansel, and I think they did another event. Yeah, they did like the terrible one, the 10x primals for Hansel. I don't think there's going to be a guaranteed Hansel. I think these are the events for Hansel. I do think there will be probably Hero's Path or something like that after this weekend, which will probably give you the Gretel soul, maybe even the Hansel soul as well. I wouldn't be shocked to have a Hero's Path with the soul for both Hansel and Gretel in there, and it's likely to be extremely expensive to get them both. Personally, I'm not going for Hansel unless the summon pool stuff I've saved up happens to give me him. We'll see. I've got to have 2 free pulls of that. But that's about it. But yeah, so we've got this champion chase for Hansel tomorrow. If you're first place, you will get Hansel. Simple enough. Great. On top of that, what is the summoning event this weekend? Well, it's a 2x Void Shards with a 10x to get Onryo Ieyasu, which is kind of nice. So yeah, that's pretty good. Onryo, I think, is still good. Obviously, it's still a bit up in question how strong he is after the most recent Hydra changes. And we also don't know, will there be more Hydra changes in the future? Will they change more stuff? Will they revert any of the Hydra changes? That's all very much up in the air. So I think Onryo he's pretty decent. I think he's pretty decent. You wouldn't feel bad about pulling an Onryo. Like, he's decent. So yeah, it's actually a pretty good Void event. I'll probably pull some shards just for the Void 2x, like grab the Legendary Tome out of it, see if I can pick up some Void stuff, because I've got a ton of Void shards saved up at this point, because I didn't do the guaranteed Lil Miss Annie, because I already had her. I already had Lil Miss Annie, so I skipped it. I've got tons of Void shards, so I'm probably going to pull some. And yeah, it's an okay event. If you got a bunch of Void shards, it can be decent. Of course, again, like I said, bearing in mind, there is another fusion. Of course, there always is another one coming up next. We should have a November fusion, and there should also be a Christmas fusion as well. So 2 more fusions before the end of the year, and you might want to save shards for those. And look, even worst case scenario, it's only a 10x for Onryo. There's definitely going to be another Void 2x before the end of the year as well. So you can totally play it safe with your Void shards and save them for another, 6 weeks maximum. Yeah, pretty much. You could save them for 6 weeks. I think it's going to be less than that, most likely. I guess 6 weeks would bring us to Christmas. They'll probably run a 2x for every type of shard over Christmas anyway. So like you'll definitely be able to pull your Void shard soon. Not really too much harm in waiting. So there you go. That's sort of my thoughts on all of this Deck of Fate. I think it's okay, but not amazing. I think it's okay. I think they did one before, which was for protection gear and stone skin accessories. That was much better. I don't think this one is quite as good. I think it's okay, it's decent, but not amazing. But I do think it's probably worth, slapping your daily energy into doing some efficient preparation for champion training, grabbing some points with just your daily energy and flipping over a few slots. I think that probably is worth it. Unless you might say, I don't care. I'm just really want to farm Minotaur, and that's fine as well. But I think this is decent. It is okay. Okay, actually, so from Saf, we've got some info. Again, stay tuned. HH Gaming on YouTube. He'll do a full breakdown probably later. He always does. This is very interesting because what we've got is, I put them all in the one tab. So, if you do, this is important. Brutal 12-3 with no Forge Pass and no Raid Pass, 17,500 energy. Now, if you do Nightmare Stage 12-6 with no Forge Pass and no Raid card, 15,000. So I was actually super close. Hey, there you go. The old quick nub maths being surprisingly accurate. But this is Nightmare 12-6. If you are on Brutal 12-3 with no Forge Pass and no Raid card, 17,000. So that is actually really important. Going in, now for me, I do have the Forge Pass. It's going to make it slightly easier for me. Maybe that's tempting to do it a bit more. But it's actually quite a big difference. If you're doing Brutal Stage 12-3, which is probably what most people do, 17,500, there's a big 2,000 energy discount if you can farm Nightmare 12-6. Not everyone can do that, though. So the 15,000 energy, which was sort of my rough point for comparison in this video, that's only if you can do Nightmare 12-6. And this was really interesting. If you do have level 1 of the paid Forge Pass, which is the 10% extra experience, and if you have the Raid card, which I don't have, I think you can only buy it on mobile, but it works everywhere. If you have the Raid card, then it goes down to 13,400. So you get another 2,000 discount on Nightmare 12-6 with those two paid perks. But the Raid card, I think the Raid card, the Forge Pass is what, $20, and the Raid card is, I think it's what, $10 a month maybe, or $13 a month. I don't know. I've actually never bought that, so I'm not 100% sure, but it's obviously pretty expensive, really. Yeah, so there you go. That's really how it breaks down. So yes, actually 15,000 is very accurate, but that is if you're going for Nightmare 12-6. If you can only do Brutal 12-3, actually prepare for more, 17,500, which makes this event, again, even slightly less appealing. Though, like I said, I do think it's still very nice and efficient for, leveling up your 1- and 2-star food, even leveling up some 3-star food, and setting yourself up for success and really easy time in the future chat. Like, it's just a great thing to do. Like, honestly, that is my thoughts. Maxing out this event, pretty questionable, but dipping your toe in with your free energy and preparing a bunch of low-level food to make the next fusion event with champion training easier, to give yourself a way easier time by prepping low-level food right now, so you can like efficiently burst up 4- and 5-star food in champion training stuff that matters. It's actually pretty good use of your time. So that's sort of my thoughts on this. It's mixed. Let me know what you think. Do you care about the pinpoint gear? Are you going for this? Like I said, I think this event is okay. I'm definitely dipping my toe in, but I'm not really sure if I will max it out. I think, if you've got a ton of resources to burn, can be good, but most people don't have a ton of resources to burn, so I think it's more of a toe dip event. And that's the thing about these Deck of Fate, right? You don't have to flip every card. If you come in and flip 4 or 5 cards, that's just as viable as doing the whole thing, It works as well. So there you go. That's for my quick thoughts on it. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you all next time. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.